Well, my goodness, what have we just witnessed in the Australian Open badminton tournament? I mean, HS Prannoy put on a brilliant show against Weng Hongyang. Remember, he lost the first game comprehensively, then fought back to win the second game 23-21. Here, in the third game, he was having a 5 point lead. Yet, in a spectacular way, HS Prannoy really squandered the advantage. And breaking news, folks, HS Prannoy has lost in the final of the Australian Open badminton tournament 9-21, 23-21, and 20-22 in an epic 1 hour long contest against China's Weng Hongyang. Remember, Prannoy was on the cusp of repeating his Malaysia Masters heroics. Remember, in the Malaysia Masters, it was Weng Hongyang whom he defeated to win the Malaysia Masters in 2023. But unfortunately, in the Australian Open, we just cannot figure out what went wrong for HS Prannoy. It was a roller coaster match because if you look at it, the first game was totally dominated by Weng. He was right on the money. His drop shots, his smash, as well as his play at the net ensured that HS Prannoy just could not get any kind of momentum. And that is why he won by a commanding margin of 9-21. That was Weng's dominance in the first game. In the second game, Prannoy showed his characteristic resilience. I mean, the way how he battled on. He was trailing by 3 points actually. 7-10 he was trailing at the interval stage of the second game. But then Prannoy launched into a ferocious onslaught and he came back in grand style. At 16-18, you felt that it was all over for HS Prannoy, but he showed his never give up attitude and he bounced back. Weng's unforced errors increased. His smash was on point, HS Prannoy, and that's why he went on to win the game 23-21. Remember, the two games after the first never went to normal time. It went into overtime. And that's why at 2020, they had to analyze that, okay, we have to go to a 2 point advantage. And Prannoy won it 23-21. Clearly deflated by what happened in the second game, Weng struggled and he was trailing right from the get go. He was 8-6 down, and at the interval, the gap increased by 5 more points at 15-10 and at 18-14. You felt that HS Prannoy was going to win the Australian Open, his second title in 2023 after the Malaysia Masters of 2023. However, Weng Hongyang staged a brilliant comeback and won for the ages because remember, Weng was actually down, and at that point, Prannoy was actually having some unforced errors with his smashes. His smashes today were 70% accurate, 30% were unforced errors. So when his smash went wrong, Weng Hongyang capitalized on it. And even the Chinese shuttler did not even back down from it. And that's why he put on a miraculous fight back and leveled the score at 19 apiece. HS Prannoy was having game point at championship point at 2020 at 2019, but Weng changed the entire discourse, and that's why he won it 22-20, and it was the ultimate of heartbreak for HS Prannoy. Remember, he could have been the second Indian male shuttler after Kidambi Srikanth in 2017 to have won the Australian Open. This time, however, Prannoy, it was a case of so near yet so far. Remember, the Australian Open is quite an important tournament because it's a BWF 500 tournament. 1,750, 500. It is the third most important when you look at the point system in the BWF cycle. So Prannoy had to unfortunately undergo that heartbreak, and that's why losing 2022 after winning the second game 23-21 is really a sorry sight indeed. Our hearts go out to HS Prannoy because he put on such a magnificent performance, but yet Weng Hongyang, I mean, what a player, he just refused to go away. And remember, Prannoy's entry into the final was kind of, you could say, a dominant factor because he was stretched to 3 games only by one individual prior to this, and that was Anthony Shinsuka Ginting in the quarterfinal. Remember, Ginting stretched him to the limit in the quarterfinals in the Australian Open. But in the semi-final, he put on a dominant show against Priyanshu Rajawat. On the other hand, Weng Hongyang's entry was kind of very fatigued because he had undergone a big encounter against Shao Tian Chen of Chinese Taipei, and that's why he came into the final rather fatigued, but it did not show. But a brilliant fight back from him ensured that Prannoy unfortunately ends on the losing side. 9-21, 23-21, 20-22. That is the scoreline that Prannoy has suffered in the Australian Open. And this is what Vignesh Kona's today's loss will be bitter for Indian fans. But looking at big picture, yes, I mean, it is going to be a big loss. I mean, Vignesh, how could he squander a 5-point advantage? That too in the third game. And after putting on a magnificent performance in the second game. I mean, he bounced back and then he had the initiative, but he squandered that in a big way, and that's why it is a bitter loss to take. But looking at the big picture, Prannoy and Lakshya Sen in red hot form will be strong contenders for medal in men's singles in Paris 2024. I would say, Vignesh, just temper your expectations slightly, because you know that the Europeans as well as the Chinese, Indonesian shuttlers are going to be in top form in Paris. And remember, not just Anthony Sinsung Ginting, not just Wang Hongyan, Chou Tien-chen. It is going to be a fantastic display from Victor Axelsen also. Remember, Axelsen is the number one and he's the most dominant player right now at this point. So Sandeep is saying, yeah, 1914, and then that 71 shot rally. I mean, it is the rally of the Australian Open. I mean, even Wang at one point in that wanted a review, but he was too late in it, and that's why he was clearly not happy. Every single point that he was having, it was going to be a big problem. 1914, a 5-point advantage. Then he leveled it up in big style, Wang Hongyang, and that's why it's a tragic heartbreak for Indian badminton fans, because we are expecting Prannoy to do well after all the other disappointments. PV Sindhu went out in the previous in the early rounds. Then Kidambi got knocked out by Priyanshu Rajawat, who by the way made a big impression in the Australian Open. Priyanshu Rajawat's great form combined with Kidambi Shrikant's good show and rather HS Prannoy's magnificent performance gives India some hope. But the Asian Games and the Paris Olympics is going to be a big task for India. They have to do well in the especially in the Asian Games. If everybody does well in the Asiad, then they'll be in good form heading into the Paris Olympics. But heartbreak for HS Prannoy, but well played indeed. He has really done a fantastic job. And Wang Hongyang, I mean, he just refuses to go away, and he is an ultimate fighter and another one of the gems that China has unearthed in that sense. So, yeah, Vignesh, many critics were saying fitness is, but where Prannoy was lacking behind in the last 1.5, he has shown that he has lifted up his physical game. Absolutely. I mean, if I have to look at it in more ways than one, he was in better fitness shape than Wang Hongyang, if you have to look at it. It was just that nerves got the better of him. And that's why, unfortunately, he had to lose. But then, as far as fitness is concerned, yes, HS Prannoy is right on top there with all the major athletes that's there. So, yeah, big situation, big problem, and it's a heartbreaking day for Indian badminton. Prannoy was just on the cusp of winning, and unfortunately, he lost. It was a tremendous fight from two tremendous athletes. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live, and thank you, HS Prannoy, for putting on a great show. Unfortunate that you had to suffer a heartbreak in the Australian Open, but more such tournaments, there is success guaranteed for him. And the Malaysia Masters win was no fluke. Prannoy will be hoping that he can continue with the good run in the near coming games in the build-up to Guangzhou 2023. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates from Sports Today. Tap that bell icon so that when we go live, and don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.